And we can create those in our mind. And when we're stuck in those mindsets and those patterns, we are in a huge sense of the word in jail, in prison. And we can stop ourselves and stop our lives from doing anything that we want to do or anything that we were meant to do while we're there.
Yeah. When I first came up with the concept of invisible jails, it was about one of my clients who struggled with dramatic and traumatic PTSD. And they actually were hijacked, is how they described it. I mean, he was standing on his front porch, and all of a sudden, with no external trigger whatsoever, he was transported back to a very traumatic memory when he was 11 years old. That's an age that's very pivotal for kids. And his was, something that happens. I mean, it was a car accident, but his experience of it with his family and what, the ambulance rides and all of the pain and the experience going forward in his life and in his family's life and the injuries of that, all of a sudden could capture him. And he was just like not present to the present world at all, and dealing with it all over again, which is my definition of PTSD, is when you're literally reliving the emotional experience. For you, he was 50 years in an invisible jail. That's how I ended up telling his story. For you, you had time in a brick and mortar prison and lots of little things. You also had the experience of being in that school, this physical environment. Those are prisons of a type. But then you had all of these experiences in between where you were in jail, hijacked by your own. And so, we're figuring out how to silence the alarms. And
I don't know why.
It happens. I mean, we welcome to live shows. So what happened that you finally gave yourself, or what happened? You went, because going to India itself was not enough to get you out of jail.
No, and I mean, I guess they say some people learn through listening to experiences of others, and some people have to kind of learn it themselves. And at that point, when I went to India, I made some changes and gotten rid of distractions in my life and did what didn't serve me. I wasn't really doing it as consciously and as aware with awareness. When she left the first time and we were in California together, my ex-wife, I was kind of left homeless. I was in California. I was living in a minivan because we were with her parents, and I had nowhere to go. And I had already experienced what my business could do in California. And all my family and friends said, Rocky, come home, go home. You'll be safe at home, just come back. And something in me said, no, I have to try. If I go back home, I kind of felt like I knew what I would have done, especially in that mindset. I would have went right back to everything. I hadn't came as far as I'd like, but I came far enough to realize that there is something different out there. So I just kept trying, and I stuck with it. And I went to a very low place in California. I didn't get back into selling drugs, but I was definitely drinking and ending up in Hollywood restrooms randomly in the middle of the night, doing cocaine and different stuff like that. Until finally, I just kind of stopped. I wasn't able to get a house. I would have no bank history, no work history, not much of any credit, and I'm a convicted felon. So no one gave me a place to live. And finally, this one place downtown LA that I didn't even look at, they said, okay, if you have X amount of dollars, we can let you live here. I moved into that place, and I was working on business the whole time. But when I moved in, I finally said, you know what? This is Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, I believe 2000, maybe 16 or 17. And I quit eating meat. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking for quite a bit of time. And I started getting into meditation and yoga and these kind of practices. They kind of cleared the mind and realign the body and the soul. And it came in the form of one of my friends from childhood that came to live with me for a while. He flew in from Korea, and he didn't kind of teach me anything or show me anything. He just simply came with me and lived that clean lifestyle next to me. And I saw it. And I said, you know what? This is what I want. I want something like this. And that's when I started really, really changing my life. And really, I stopped listening to music. I stopped watching movies and television. I started consciously placing myself around people that were aligned with these things. And I started reading and watching YouTube videos of Ralph Smart, Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, Alan Watts, all these amazing men on YouTube that kind of share this knowledge for free. And man, that saved my life, because I was so lost at that point in time. I didn't really know what to do. I thought I had, done better. And then I had this big blow come to me again as an adult that was, nothing on the outside did it to me. No parents grabbed me, no authority figures grabbed me. I kind of manifested that on my own. And I had to really sit back and look into myself and figure out what's going on and really change these things because I wanted that. I didn't want to go back to anything else.
Okay, so you said something in there I just want to unpack a little bit. You said no externals, you said something happened, but no external force did it. So what was that woke you up? What was the wake up happening?
It was just that, the divorce or the ex-wife, the separation at that point in time, as an adult, the things we get ourselves into, like we have to take responsibility for them. And for me at that point in time, like that feeling, like I said, wow, like Rocky, like you're not perfect, the other person's not perfect, but there are so many things that could have contributed to this that you could fix and you could not act like. And that kind of really woke me up at that point and said, I want something different. I want something better. And I've already tasted it. And now it's time to actually, consciously be aware, chase it and get to that point in that place.
So chasing the clean lifestyle, not because somebody told you or took you into it, but because somebody showed you by living it.